Okay, so let's get started. I hope everyone can hear me okay. If you can't, please let us know through the chat function. A warm welcome to all the attendees to this webinar. My name is Tomo Hamakawa. I'm a project manager at Kopernik and will be moderating the webinar today. I'd like to welcome you all to the second webinar of this Impact Tracker Technology webinar series. We have participants from literally around the world today, and we're very excited. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a couple of features on your screen so that you can better participate in this webinar. The first button is the chat function, which allows you to participate in the online chat. If you have any technical issues, please raise them through here. The second button is the question button, which allows you to submit questions to me, the moderator. Please ask questions at any time during the webinar so we can address them during the Q&A sessions. The last button on the screen is the raise your hand button, which you can ignore for today's webinar. So today's webinar is split into a few sections. First, I'll briefly introduce the Impact Tracker technologies. Then we'll invite Zi Wang, the CEO of the iPhone Builder, to explain what iPhone Builder is all about. We'll have a short Q&A session. Then we'll invite Jared to talk a little bit about how he has used iPhone Builder in the field. And then we'll have another short Q&A session, and then we'll close. Well, we expect this webinar to be about 45 minutes, so we'll try to keep it short and sweet for everyone's sake. So, first, introduction to Impact Tracker technologies. Before we get started on the Impact Tracker technologies, I'll briefly explain what Kopernik is. Kopernik is an organization that connects simple technology with last-mile communities to reduce poverty. By technology, we mean simple, affordable, effective technologies, products like water filters, solar lights, and clean cook stoves. The organization was founded by Toshi Nakamura and Eva Wojkowska about 4 years ago, and we've reached 215,000 people to date through the distribution of 40,000 units of products in 120 projects in 20 countries. The geographical spread can be found on the lower left map of this slide. The main work that Kopernik engages in is the distribution of simple, life-changing technologies, but on the side, we also conduct advisory services as well as research projects. And this Impact Tracker technology work falls under this other work that we engage in. So the question that drove this research is, what if nonprofits and social enterprises were able to report real-time, large-scale data on their social impact in an affordable way? The key terms here are real-time, large-scale, and, most importantly, affordable. As you know, many ICT tools are out there to help organizations track social impact. At the same time, organizations are under pressure to measure their performance and results. So there's supply and demand, and we wanted to bridge this gap. This research is fully funded by the Impact Economy Innovations Fund in East and Southeast Asia, which is funded by the Rockefeller Foundation and Asia Community Ventures. And the research started last November and ends at the end of this month. And the key deliverables include the online catalog, which I hope you have been able to check out. We also will be publishing print catalogs and a series of webinars, including this one. And finally, a couple of events in Jakarta and Bali to promote our work. The Impact Tracker technology is grouped into 4 categories: digital data collection apps, SMS communication platforms, geospatial mapping tools, and remote sensors. And today, we'll be focusing on the first category, digital data collection apps. So what are digital data collection apps? These apps allow organizations to go paperless in their surveys and become more efficient in their data collection by utilizing mobile phones and tablets to collect, store, and transmit data. An organization can use them to collect qualitative and quantitative data in the field, as well as capturing multimedia data like photos, and also pinpointing locations on maps. And many of these apps are cloud-based and have pre-programmed form builders and can collect and transmit data remotely. So we'd like to invite Ziwang from iForm Builder to give a specific example within this category of digital data collection apps. And this specific tool is one of our top recommendations in this category. And we're very grateful that Z has kindly joined us at 3 a.m. his time. So
thanks, Tomo.
Very grateful for your participation. So over to you, Z.
All right, thanks a lot, Tomo. So hi, everybody. My name is Z Wong. I'm the CEO of iPhone Builder. And so in the next few minutes, hopefully it won't take too long, we'll explain what it is. So Tomo, please, next.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, we start this product in 2009, obviously after App Store was announced. But me, myself, and a couple other partners of the company has been doing mobile data collection since the year 2000. So we always say this is like the second generation that we do. Next, please. So what is iPhone Builder? Like Tomo was talking about, these kinds of apps generally collect data, allow you to program your forms without coding, and are in the cloud. You can send data in remotely. We do all of that, obviously. What we do more than other related other tools in this category is that we focus on enterprise. By enterprise means large scale, and you will see a little bit more when I explain a little bit in the detail. And offline is what we do from the ground up. So this is not a online web-based data collection tool that we then try to put offline into. Offline is baked into the platform, and there's local database on both iOS and Android. And flexibility and security obviously is one of our other cornerstones. And I've already touched on large scale and robust workflow. So we'll talk about a little bit on the logic. Other people do skip logic, so we focus on allowing you to build very robust workflow. Next. And so what is good data? Good data is what we always say. What we always say is we're a bunch of people passionate about giving you good data. And so that kind of differentiate or talk about why we do what we do, because it's not just building a survey. It's not just building better forms. It's allowing you to get better data, better digestible data that is easy to use. At the end of the day, you want to be able to report it. You want to be able to put it on a map that's easy to use on your own. And more importantly, data integrity. So everything that we collect has timestamp and has geolocation, and so you can be sure where it is collected and who collected it. Subjectivity is one of the key issues that we're trying to minimize, so that your data becomes researchable, becomes reportable. So we allowed you a lot of tools to ensure that you only show the end user what is necessary, and then show them option lists, and create data integrity checks or other requirements. So their data is clean. And obviously, we'll touch on it more and more. Security is very main concern within our platform, and we have the best in the industry. Next, please. So yeah, there are four major topics I want to talk about in the next few minutes, and I'll dive into each one of these next, please. So yeah, here are just some number about our scales. Recently, we just passed 100 million transactions, and these transactions are not just one function call. Some of these transactions are 10 pages long. So 100 million, we're trying to grasp how big it is, and if we stack up each one like a piece of paper, it will be taller than the tallest mountain in the world. And we also we have 40,000 active users using us worldwide across 125 countries, and we've been deployed and actually collected data from 81,000 devices. Actually, installation is a lot bigger, but we count the actual devices that are actually have collected data. And we have three clouds right now in the world. The biggest one is in the US, obviously, and then UK and Australia. You can choose which cloud you belong to, and we do this to make sure we're tied up with local regulation if some data cannot leave the country. Next, we talked about this slide is about our vertical. So our biggest vertical is the medical. About 30% of our business is from the medical industry. The next biggest is the engineering industry, like building inspection or construction companies. And NGO currently represent 13% of our business, but it is the fastest growing and one that I love the most. I always try to say that, and it is the one that I'm spending a lot of energy trying to make sure we stay in and we stay competitive and we stay good. Next. So next we dive into the a little bit logic, because we don't have a lot of time. I wouldn't be going into the great detail. So all I want to make sure that we touch on is we're focused on enterprise grade logic and structure. What that means is we allow you to build, not just skip logic, not just when this happened, this question show up. We allow you to build very complex workflow. Something like you can say when user entering a particular score, you send an email notification, do mobile assignment, do workflow, do scoring. And the complex data structure allows you to put forms within other forms. So, and because of that, you can build layers of very complex data structure. Like, for example, a household survey. You can have a child survey and a grown-up survey, and then have a household survey as a master form that contains many children and many grown-up. The structure does not have to be decided up front, and you can do it in real time. So that also allow a lot of flexibility, and so that is one of our key feature why people choose us from other platform, is so you can do a lot of magic, and we support full JavaScript for you to express this logic on. All right, next please. So alongside with the enterprise kind of theme, we also allowed you to connect to a lot of backend system and hardware devices. So all of these devices on the right that you see, barcode scanning, mobile printer, RFID, GPS device, even CO2 sensors are already baked into the product. You don't have to, there is no development involved. If you choose to use any of these barcode scanner, any of these devices, they're just a widget within the platform. You just call them and it's already there. And we love hardware. We'll continue to expand on that, and that's also something that we do a little bit more than any other platform. And on the backend side, we have a full API. Everything that you can do on our website, like building forms, managing users, assigning forms to users, are available on API. And of course, you can send data in and out of our system with API. So with that, a lot of our customers, partners use us to build a very complex system. One of our partners built a delivery system that uses our API extensively. Security, obviously, I touch on it a lot, and again, we won't go into great detail here. We can talk about it offline if this is of concern for you. But just so you know, our major focus vertical-wise is medical, so we have a lot of highly sensitive data from medical research and medical labs, so you can understand the sensitivity there. In our one of our very project in the beginning, it's the children's study from the US, and they actually hire hackers to try to break through, and we improve a lot over the years to make sure that we can handle secure data. Next. And actually, second last but not obviously not least, we from the ground up are a disconnected platform. So we allow you to run your iOS devices and Android devices without connection. And then you can do this in remote area such as Africa, South America, and South Asia. But on top of that, so that's what we call the disconnected solution. On top of that, we have introduced another solution called a Thunder Plug. So this is what we call the ultra disconnect. Traditionally in our market, disconnect means that you can take a device offline and use it, and until that device comes back online, you can store data there. Ultra disconnect allow an entire team of people to be disconnected. So we try to solve this problem where a team of people go into a village, and they are basically disconnected from main internet for weeks. While they are disconnected, however, we can use this plug as a mobile cloud. And with this cloud, they can now remotely collaborate. So they can continue to collect data, they can even run report, they can even update a survey while completely disconnected. So the next one, you'll see one picture from this is Ethiopia, may have been Yara's project, who will talk about a little bit more detail from one of our biggest customer in the NGO space. And you will see this person carrying a backpack, a solar backpack. The Thunder Plug is inside there, so he is actually literally a mobile cloud. With the solar backpack and the Thunder Plug, he can run for an entire day without needing to charge. So we are bringing in 21st century mobile data collection technology to villages that was actually so far remote. They don't have internet, they don't have power, and we can now send people there to collect data and talk about impact assessment. We can now reach a lot more people. So that is one of our newer feature, and obviously include innovative hardware. But we're very proud. We're spending a lot of energy on this, and continue to innovate on this. Next is a little bit of how it works, right? So basically, the plug there in the middle is like, some people call it the baby cloud, and it is kind of is, right? So you do your configuration when you are back home in your comfort of your office, right? Then you take the devices and the plug to offline. And while offline, you can do everything that you can do as if it's in the cloud. You can collect data, you can collaborate. What is important about that is now multiple devices can work together while disconnect. So this was never able to be done before. And then of course, when you are done, you can then upload sync back to the cloud, so back office can see your data. Next is some key features of this, what we call the disaster or outsort disconnected kit. So we send it out as a kit. Up to 20 users can collaborate in real time. Now, we always emphasize it's like 20 people hitting the sync button at the exact same time. So yeah, I say 20 people in a team being remote collected. That is very, very cool. And then you can analyze and collaborate in the field. So we send this out with the plug alongside with the solar backpack and the GPS chip, so that actually you can now use cheaper mobile devices. So the mobile device do not need to have their own built-in GPS. The red thing in the middle you see is a GPS unit. So you can enable your non-GIS enabled device to do GPS tracking. Okay, so yeah, the emphasis is no internet connection and absolutely no power. We bring our own cloud and we bring our own power. Next, please. So last but certainly not least, we are the Esri's best new partner this year. And with Esri, it brings us world-class mapping and GIS capability. And again, I won't go into the detail. This is a super quick overview of what we do. But yeah, with Esri, we now have very good mapping capability. Next is our pricing model. So we have two kind of pricing. To begin with, it's basically a user-based pricing. It's $100 US per user per year, and that's basically it. There's nothing else to begin with. And we like to say we use more of a internet TV model where you buy a username and you can now log into up to 3 devices. We understand a lot of people these days have more than one device. And what we want to emphasize always is in our platform, we do not charge for record submission. So if you pay for one user, that username that you have can collect as many data as you want. That we do not limit on that ever. And you can start with 5 users, or at 50 users, we give you more features. Again, we can go into more detail if there are questions about it. Like I said, we focus on enterprise, so large-scale project is very common within our platform. So usually when a project grows toward 1,000 users, this pricing model becomes a little bit sticky. So we have this unlimited usage pricing model. Once you go toward about 1,000 users, we'll give you unlimited. We won't count users anymore. We also won't count record submission. At that time, all we count are API transactions, meaning we, at that point, at large scale, and again, we're talking about 1,000 users. So enterprise group like the Yum Group who runs KFC and Pizza Hut, Gay Gourmet who runs your airline food, and also basically every single hospital in the U.S. have this. At that point, we're only counting in integration into the backend system. So let me know if you're interested in there. Otherwise, we're looking at $100 a user. So we also want to emphasize that a lot of questions come in for things like open source data collection. Yes, you can also use them too. We have a lot of projects actually graduate from open source. Because at some point, the act of managing a server, managing the backend, actually makes it more expensive than $100 a user. So and I can talk about it if there are questions too. All right. So next is just wanted to spend a couple minutes on. We currently run over 500 NGO projects. We won't go into great detail of each one. The main one is CRS in Africa. Right now, actually grow outside of Africa now. CRS is our biggest customer in this vertical, and Yara is going to talk about a little bit more detail in a few minutes. And they actually have over 100 Thunderplugs running everywhere. And World Vision also are doing M&E work with us. They are starting with 90 users, just in Niger and Tanzania and Kenya. I want to draw your attention to South Africa ICAPA data. This project is very interesting because they combine data collection with youth development. So not only do they create a project where they collect survey data of local demographic, they also employ local youth to try to get them out of trouble. So it's like a double benefit for this project. Now, and Madim in West Africa, there is a land right project. So they are trying to bring affordable land right management to people in villages where they otherwise don't have land rights. Over in the Americas, South America, Sustainable Harvest is a coffee project that we work with closely to make sure that coffee farmers are getting paid fairly. And obviously with this year's UN resolution about what we call the climate smart agriculture, which is what we're going to be heavily involved in. And last, Haiti is still in a big recovery mode. JPHRO is one of our Haiti recovery. CRS is also involved in the Haiti recovery. So again, we have over 500 NGO projects right now. These are just some examples. If you would like to go into detail, we would. And that's all I have. And and again, I understand I tend to overrun. So if you have questions, you can go sign up for a trial. Just go to iformbuilder.com and you can sign up for a trial. And you can find my contact info, and you can send me an email. If there are questions, we can set up a demo, and we can go from there. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Tomo.
Great. Thank you, Z. So please send in your questions now if you have any at the moment. And for the time being, we already have a few lined up. So we'll ask Z. First question is about the Thunder plug. I think that's a very interesting and innovative feature, hardware that NGOs especially need. And can you tell us the pricing on the Thunder plug?
Yes. So that is always question number one. So right now we're selling the Thunder plug at $850 a piece. We are trying, I would say I am personally trying my best to try to lower it as much as possible. Yeah. Right now we're still in a low scale, and I've been traveling to China a lot to try to get factories to build these devices. But right now, yes, we are charging $850 per device.
And also, just on a technical question about the plug, how far can you be from the plug to sort of transmit data to the plug?
Right. So the plug is like a home Wi-Fi, right? So from a hardware perspective, it's very similar to an Apple TV. I'm not sure if that's common in where you guys are. So we always say about 100 meter. But that is not right. That doesn't mean because your device on its own is disconnect. So think about this being a hub. Right, so you can actually disperse your team outside of 100 meter, collect data, come near the hub, and then go back to collect data.
Right. So essentially carrying like a Wi-Fi router, and as long as you're within 100 meters, you get connected.
Correct.
Okay, great. Another question is more of a general question about digital data collection apps and iForm builders. What do you think are some of the key hindrances, barriers to NGOs and social enterprises using such a good tool that would actually make life easier for people in NGO? What's stopping them from using these tools?
Oh, I will go for days. But I think one of the key issue is the procurement of the hardware. A lot of people think that you now have to buy 100, 200 hardware that costs a lot of money. Actually, at the right scale, I would say even at 50, maybe 100,
Yeah.
A lot of our NGO customers have done studies that basically says if you are at about 100 collectors,
Yeah.
then your first year it's about breaking even. You now currently you will need to print out books, right? Like manual
Yeah.
and deliver paper. Now none of those costs exist.
Right.
So first year is almost a washout, and then from year two onward, you're making money. I mean, you're saving a ton of money. So cost is number one. Number two key, I won't go into too much detail here. Number
Yeah.
two is the human factor.
Yeah.
Number two key is that people don't fully understand what they are, what it is, and
Yeah.
have not planned for it, right? So I always say you need to do like a dry run when you're still at home, when you're in good connection. Don't go out to Kenya and call us when, I mean, please call us actually, but that's not wise, right? So the human factor is the most important. So we're spending more energy now with NGO projects to say, hey, if you're bringing one plug 20 device out there, well, let us help you make sure every form is tested, and think everybody knows what to do before you go out there. And we do this to just help us and help you.
Yeah, great.
Right.
Great. Well, that was really helpful. Maybe people have more questions for you later, and we can ask them in the second Q&A. Let's move on to the presentation by Yared, who works with CRS Ethiopia, and as he mentioned, they're using iPhone Builder in the field and has a fair amount of experience. So let's hear from Yared. Over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm iPhone Builder user. I'm going to present for you how we have used iPhone Builder for the last 3 years. Before that, I just want to take you through some of our terminologies and how we came to buy and to use iPhone Builder. And I'm sure everybody is listening to me. If it's disconnected or if anyone has difficulty in listening to me, please say something. We start to use iPhone Builder in 2010, at the end of 2010, in our MEAL, monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning department. We use MEAL to improve our projects efficiency, projects implementation with our partners. And we have this approach called Smiler that we use to develop paper-based forms, data collection forms, and reporting formats. And we used to do the paper form for the last 5 years, but we came to buy the digital devices and iPhone Builder and similar other applications to make it to come through ICT 4D because it's in the CRS global strategy. And this strategy, we use this technology to improve the project implementation, which improves the project objectives, and at the end, it improves the lives of our beneficiaries, the lives of the communities, and it builds resilience and capacity within the community. And can I move to the next slide, please? Okay, let me go through the process of the digital MEAL ICT 4D process. As I told you, we have this Smiler. Smiler is an approach that we use for every project. CRS Ethiopia has got like 32 projects right now, and within all projects we use Smiler. Smiler is at the start of the project. We have this workshop to develop, to identify indicators, attributes, forms, and reporting needs. Then we used to stop there. Then we start to use iPhone Builder to digitalize those forms, to make them digital, and to create reporting dashboards, use reporting dashboards with other vendors than iPhone Builder. Next slide, please. Okay, then let me go to my experience within the last 3 years. We have collected like 80,000 household data and more than 250,000 records in service delivery for our monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning units. And we have conducted so many surveys using the digital devices using iForm Builder. And we have conducted partner and CRS Ethiopia inventory using iForm Builder. And when it comes to the geography, we have used iForm Builder in the 3 main regions of Ethiopia. That means it takes like 75% of the country's coverage. And within the 5 major projects in CRS country program, these major projects, they valued more than $100 million. Actually, it's 1 year, but it's more than that. Actually, the exact number is it's like $500 million for 5 years. That's the exact value of the projects. These are very, very, very big projects. And we have trained and used more than 100 partner staff and field agents. We've trained them. We bought the devices. We have bought the licenses from iForm Builder. And we came through a lot of improvement. We have started with iForm Builder from the beginning. We have piloted this project. During the pilots, we have seen what iForm Builder can do and how it's going to be improved. We have given our feedbacks to Z and his staff, and they have improved iForm Builder within the 3 years. Almost they have perfected it. Right now, we are using it like without no problem. Next slide, please. And this is just the photo of data collection, just to give you a highlight. Next, please. Okay, thanks. We have made some study 1 year ago from Accenture. It's London-based consultants firm, and Accenture has proved iForm Builder would be less expensive than the paper form that we use. Normally, we made the digital and the paper, including the devices and the trainings and everything from the digital and the paper. The digital is going to be less expensive through years. Z was talking about it earlier, and it has got lots of advantages that we have seen within our projects. It improved the data completeness and the errors, especially the errors, that we can get clean reports on time, and there is a reduced effort of the staff, and we can save time through that. And you don't need data cleaning when you use iForm Builder, because you can put controls while you build the forms and everything. There are less personal preference or bias by enumerators or any other members of the study team for the digital forms and than the conventional ones. These were all of the monitoring and evaluation problems we were having, and for a long time we were trying to improve the system using the conventional method, but it seems unlikely. We came to the ICT4D, and you have right now seeing lots of results. The one thing that Z was talking about is using the offline mode. As you may know, in Ethiopia, there was in Ethiopia there is no much of a coverage in internet and electricity, so we have to use these devices and these forms, especially the Thunder plug. We have been using it at the start of the projects. Now we have better coverage of internet in all of our areas, so we are using the iPod Touch and iPods with the Thunder plugs as well. The other thing, as I call as an advantage for iPhone Builder, is it's very simple to design forms. That's why we use for surveys. We conduct surveys every time, at least once a month. We conduct surveys for every project. So it's very simple to design a survey in iPhone Builder. We have already the accounts, we have the devices. It's very simple, so it takes a lot of burden from us, and we are now looking to integrate this iPhone Builder with the Zoho and ClickFolio dashboards, and we are trying to make everything digital, end-to-end digital system, and now we have already doing that for some of the projects, but not all of the projects. The technical parts already Z mentioned. I'm not going to talk about the views and the feeds of the iPhone Builder. And the other is the reliable data security. Everybody has got his own login from the technical point of view and the encryption, but we have security for every data collector, and we can track errors and we can track problems with data simply. And generally, it's very suitable. And CRS is using iPhone Builder. CRS Global actually using iPhone Builder as a scaled across tool for monitoring and evaluation. So I'm sure that we are going to continue using iPhone Builder for the next, I don't know, 5 years or something like that. I'm sure I can say that. Anyway, thank you. If you have questions with experience, I'm willing to answer that.
Thank you very much, Jared. That was very informative. There's one question for both Jared and Z, and it's about the features that have been improved over time. Jared, you mentioned in the last 3 years or so, there were some issues that you worked with iPhone Builder to overcome, and they've developed the features so that it better meets your needs. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? And Z, feel free to chip in.
Yeah, actually, I was talking about the iOS devices. It's with the devices and it's with the Thunder plugs. The devices, we only use iOS devices. Though iPhone Builder now you can use it with Android devices as well, but we only use with iOS devices. iOS devices, every time the operating system gets changed, now it's iOS 8, I think. The operating system version changes every time. Whenever the version changes, we have to wait for iPhone Builder to change to the new version, and they have been keeping it up to now, and that was good. For the Thunder plug, we have the older version of the Thunder plugs, the beginning version of the Thunder plugs, and the technical parts, maybe we didn't understand how to use the Thunder plug and our connectivity and the internet protocols with the Thunder plugs and everything. Maybe it could be our problem that we didn't understand how it works, but we didn't use it for the last, I don't know, 2 years or something. Now we have updated those Thunder plugs with the new versions, and now we are using it.
Okay, great.
Right. So yeah, if I may jump in a little bit.
Yeah, please.
And of course, things are not perfect, right? So we continue to improve, and we update in a very fast pace.
Yeah.
So one of the key things that we work with CRS on is management. As CRS gets into hundreds of projects, thousands of forms, we start working with them now. And actually, I mean, the key thing is other customer at this scale, they have a team of people working on it. So other for-profit enterprise, I mean, CRS too, there is a big team of people, but the uniqueness of CRS is at that large scale and very dispersed area. So they're everywhere, not like a typical enterprise where they're in one location. So we improve a lot on the management, where they can centrally manage forms. They can create a form and send it to as a base form for every project. A lot of those are about scalability, and the plug, I mean, obviously is brand new. Like they start from the first. I mean, I think the first batch that I was dreaming about having this in the future, and up to now at this point is very usable, and but we're not done. I mean, we're going on trying to put a battery and a solar panel directly at the hardware, so that it is one thing. So yeah, yes.
when is that coming out?
Yeah, I can't. I don't have a timeline.
Okay.
I wish. I mean, trust me.
It's in the pipeline. Okay.
I'm working really hard to try to make it happen.
Great. Just one last question. I'm conscious of time. So can you explain some of the differences between the features from a iOS device and an Android device? Are there any differences in using iForm Builder?
Sure. So I can go. We start being iOS focused, right? And but at this point, actually, I think the table have turned. There will be more development on Android than on iOS, and we at this point we're trying to keep everything that we develop on both platforms. Right now, I am not sure what else is not. I mean, so right now I would safely say everything that is available on iOS is available on Android. Except one thing that just came into mind is the management view of iOS, where you can manage in the cloud data on the iPad, right? So we yet have a tablet version of Android, but from a collection perspective, everything is there.
Okay, so they're basically the same in terms of data collection.
And and then we are. I mean, because the market dictates that we're actually putting more emphasis on Android going forward.
Right. Okay. That's very interesting. That there's a trend of Android users as opposed to maybe a little while ago when iOS was more popular.
Right.
Great. Jared, do you have anything to add?
Oh, he's mute. Yeah.
Great.
No, I'm okay.
Okay, great.
No. I'm done, actually. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. All right. With that, we will close this webinar. But just a couple of final words. Here are the panelists' contact info in case you want to get in touch with Z, Jared, or myself. So feel free to email us at these email addresses. And last is an announcement about the next webinar. It's actually the final webinar of this Impact Tracker Technology webinar series, and it'll be held next week, October 22nd at 3 p.m. Central Indonesia time, which is GMT +8. So if you're interested in learning more about geospatial mapping tools, please go to our website and register for this webinar as you did for today. Thank you very much, Z and Jared, for taking the time to share with us about iForm Builder. It was very interesting. And thank you to all the attendees of the webinar. I hope you found it interesting and relevant. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.